just gonna start like this. New boat, new year, new boat. Now I say new year. It's the 30th of June, so we're a little late on this. But like I was telling Ethan, the guy behind the camera, I don't have this like, I haven't had it dialed like all year until now. Now it's finally where it needs to be. Rods are where it needs to be. Everything's where it needs to be. So I figured it'd be a good time to do a walkthrough on the 2021 rig. Let's go. Okay, so let's start up at the front. I think last year's boat, we started at the front. Makes sense. We have an Ultrex Humminbird 360. There are rumors that there may or may not be another transducer coming for the Ultrex here very quickly. We actually just got done shooting some of that down in Tejas like 2-3 weeks ago. But yeah, we'll address that when it comes. The biggest difference, guys, from this boat from last year's, this is the F20 Predator. I had the F21 last year, TE, and the biggest thing to know is this one stays wider for longer. So imagine kind of chopping the front 1.5 feet, setting everything back a little bit. I have more space to stand up on, and we'll get a different view later when I'll show you what I'm talking about. But the area between my rods, where the foot pedal is, and the other side of each gunnel, like I just have more room. And most people ask, you know, like, hey, is it, you know, the deck square footage bigger? And square footage might not be bigger. In fact, it might even be smaller. But I can fish further up the boat, wider for like longer, and that just means more room. I'm not stepping on things. I care almost exclusively about fishability in this rig, not as much about top end, about the best ride in the industry. I use it to work out of constantly, so the deck is important. But when I fish, I'm not a tournament angler. Like, I'm not the guy that's running 80 miles an hour to a spot. I want to be able to be comfortable, and that front wide deck is significantly wider than last year's. So that's probably one of my favorite things to it. But otherwise, there hasn't been a lot that's changed. The only other big thing would be Solix to Helix, but we're gonna get into that later when I get to the console. Some people ask, like, okay, so, you know, the F20 versus the F20 Predator. Well, it is a different hull to begin with. This is a new hull within that last year or two. One of the things you get with the Predator is going to be like a blacked out Fulton wheel. The winch up here is all blacked out. You get upgraded rims and tires. The fenders are chrome. They're not fiberglass. Everything's got a polished look to it. And that's one of the reasons that I went with the Predator, other than the hull, was like a lot of the upgrades that I wanted are already done. The only thing that I got in this boat that didn't come with, everything else came stock, is I did put some speakers in it, so we could be bumping a little bit. I mean, I don't know, for a lot of stuff that I do, especially between runs, while we're with, I mean, even if we're with clients, I like to have music around. Like, I don't want a little boombox thing on the, you know, that sticks aside. I want speakers in the boat. So that was an upgrade I made. That, and then the steps over here, which last year's boat had these, and once you have these steps, climb in and out of the boat, like, I'm not gonna say like I'm old, but like, dude, I'm old. Like, being able to climb up into it every time is clutch. So dude, this front deck is so big. It's so big. So yeah, that is the only other thing that I had upgraded was those steps. This hull is faster. This hull rides amazing, and the layout in it is really well done, but simple, just simple. And that's what attracts a lot of people to Falcon, I think, is those specific things. They're not crazy expensive. You're getting a good value, yet everything is executed for like just a really solid, simple rig. Without getting into like the compartments, which we'll do later, let's go to the back. Okay, probably the like most frequent asked question that I get, the hull, boat, nothing. It's, why did you go with Talons? Like, why? Like, are they the same last year's Talons? Did you have a choice to go to Raptors? Did you not like the Raptors? Simplest thing I can say is it's a two-parter. One, never had an issue with my Talons. I know some guys have, and I know that some of the older models, some people would complain about some random things, but I've had these Talons, this model, the 12-footers, on 3 boats now. Every year I've had new ones and rigged them up, and never had an issue. I've never had one like fail on me, never one not come up. And I'm not a tournament guy, so like the weight isn't a big deal for me. I know they're heavy, I know the brackets are heavy, but for what again, this is a fishability boat. Like, top end isn't that big a deal. There's no reason for me to switch. All the lakes that I fish, for the most part, when I'm not traveling south in the spring, are northern lakes. They're rocky. It's big water. To hold yourself in place is really handy. I can go 12 feet down. I almost got the 15s. Like, last minute I decided not to, just because they are like really that tall. But with the tilt brackets, I can fold them down. I just like everything I like about them, and they've never seen me wrong. The other thing was, like, don't get me wrong, like every other person, like the Raptors look sweet, And I did have 8-foot blades like 3-4 boats ago. And I never, they always would go up different air times. And I know the Raptors have fixed a lot of those issues, and I know they came to market with a lot of those things fixed. But out of like the 30-something guys that were all, the Talon Minn Kota guys, like 28 of them or something went to Raptors. And so there's a little bit of like, not an exclusivity, but like they still need Talon content. Like the guys that I have a relationship with there, to be able to have these on a boat that's rigged up and we can go execute, whether it be a product video, whether it be just like a small photo shoot, that we can still have them, and that because everyone else is running Raptors, was really nice. And that wasn't like from a performance standpoint, that wasn't like a big deal, but it was something for me. And why would you switch something out that has never led you wrong or never, broken on you or anything like that? There just wasn't a reason for me to switch. I can go in 12-foot water. They look good. I use the work lights on them all the time. I've had good luck with them, so that's the biggest reason. This obviously is different from last year's G2. As much as I used to travel on the tournament scene and film those guys a lot more than I do as of late, and I saw the Avenue trailer constantly full with boats and versus the other brands. I never had an issue with my Avenue. I won't poo-poo it. It was a bad motor, like bad to the bone, not like bad like negative, like the thing ripped. And I want to say it might even have been more of a performance motor than this thing is. The difference is like, one, obviously getting them worked on is gonna be tough because they're out of business. Two, this thing I've had a lot of good experience with in other boats filming them. It's mean as well for a 4-stroke. It freaking rips. And I've always been a Mercury guy. That Avenue was the only Avenue I ever had. So going back to a ProXS, and not to mention their new 4-stroke, was like an easy no-brainer. That was one of the first things I decided. I got the boat, the hull, motor needed to be a Mercury. So I'm happy with it. We got a Atlas jack plate. Last year was like a C-Star on the F21. It works, it does its job. If it does its job, I'm happy with it. So let's go to the console and talk about the dash and figure out what's there. Okay, so again, biggest difference between last year's boat and this year's boat. I went from Helixes to Solixes. Now, without getting too into detail with it, this video could be 20 minutes alone just talking about those units and their comparison. I ran Helixes. I never had an issue with them. They worked, they did exactly what they needed to do, and I thought Solix's was just kind of an upgrade, like a little faster, obviously touchscreen, like it'd be a little bit better experience, but I didn't think it was worth, going from Helix to Solix. I was happy with my Helixes. When I got Solix's on here, I realized that my formal opinion of what the difference was, like an upgrade, was wrong. And I really do think they're in a different league. They're in a different ballpark. They're just, you can do a lot of the same things, but in terms of navigating, in terms of scrolling through your menu options, in terms of doing all of that while you're fishing, everything is just tailored a lot more user-friendly and a lot quicker than, and I had the newest Helixes. They were quick. They're as quick as Helixes could get. But everything and how these work, how I connect things, how they talk to each other, how I navigate, how I hit waypoints. There's things that every time I end up shooting with one of these guys at Humminbird, they show me another thing that's that just makes sense. And in terms of user ability and just plug and play for a guy, for a generation that's built on, we know iPhones, we know Macs, we know these computers that have good interface. It was stupid. So I do think they're in different leagues. I don't think it's apples to apples. I think that they are a different level of product, and they both have their benefits, budget included. But I've been really happy with them. This year, I went with 2 at the console with the BBT mount, and we got the GPS puck here. The dash is the Falcon itself is a lot, similar. You have your tabs here for your trim and your jack plate. One of the reasons that I like Falcon, like I told you, is the value and how simple they are. Everything's on a rocker switch. If something goes out, which hasn't happened yet, but I know I can go to like an AutoZone store and get a 3-way rocker and get it replaced, or fuses are all right here. There's nothing digital about it. It's simple, and if something goes wrong and I need it to be fixed, I can do that pretty much anywhere in the country. I don't have to go in and plug it into a computer. So again, it's one of those things that I'm not dissing on digital stuff. It's simple. A few of the upgrades I would say, like I said, it was the speaker system. I do keep a Talon switch right here, as well as one up the front with the stomps, as well as one on my truck, which I actually think we just posted a video about that the other day about how I launched the boat. But everything else is pretty similar. I'm like 6 foot, probably 165 pounds. This cockpit fits me fine. There's plenty of room. I think if you're a big dude, I don't know how they compare to everything else, but it's simple. I think the next thing, I can show you guys how I have everything laid out with rods and everything, because that is something that's new this year on this boat versus last year. Okay, so like I said, freaking front deck. I would be lying if I said that when I was in college, my dream boat was a Legend V20. Falcon, I don't even think it was a company yet. They weren't even started. And I fell in love with it because of how simple it was and because of the layout. And this is one of the only boats in the market that I know has a similar layout that's that simple, that big a deck. It's just, yeah, I'm in love with it. So we have a middle bin here We have a rod locker on each side. This one's got a full latch. That one's got a half latch with another box in front of it. They are one box, but they have a divider in it, which is kind of nice. So you can remove it and not remove it. I'll show you the bins specifically later. But we got a cooler, your day box here for a couple 3500s, or sorry, 2500s, and then just again cup holders and other things. So we'll go into that a little bit later. One of the things you're gonna get with the Predator is like all these trim pieces, like all these chrome plated stuff. On the front, you got an LED light that's like the bird that lights up. It's freaking sweet. All these things here are just like all custom made, and that's a couple of the upgrades you get with the Predator. These seats, I got black and white. That's probably another thing we could talk about is like color of the boat, but I mean, obviously you see it's black and white. I will change a few things next year, but for the most part, I like this color scheme, and I think I'll probably keep something similar to it. But Predator, every single one of these boxes has lights in it, like every one of them, other than maybe the cooler and this box. Like all those here, we have LEDs on the console here. We have LEDs all at the front deck. All of that comes standard with the Predator. And even your live well has lights in it. Even your back storage has lights in it. Even your back battery compartment has lights in it. So like it's all pre-rigged with LEDs. LEDs are efficient. They don't take up a whole lot of juice. And like you'd be amazed at like how useful that is until you like need it. Like when you go and dig at something at night, or you go running your boat like, oh, I forgot something. Where is it? You can turn your lights on. They just go. That paired with the work lights on the Talons, I can rig out here at night as long as the mosquitoes aren't bad. Like completely without any extra light at all. And that's a big deal. Tying knots, rigging up rods, like you do a lot of that after hours when you're off the lake, and having all that light in here is phenomenal. There's another light right here. I think under here's got one as well on the floors here. So it's really well lit for a bass boat, I think. And considering how many different compartments there are. But we got live wells here, pretty simple. I mean, I don't think there's anything too crazy about. Obviously we just got off the water. There's a bunch of water in here. But looking at the back storage, it's pretty big. I keep all like towels, extra life jackets, ratchets, extra bags, pretty much like a tools and accessories thing here. And then on this side, I got more tackle and such, and again, just bags on bags of plastics. And again, nothing is totally dialed in here. It's more just kind of thrown in there. But I will say this, one of the best compliments I got when the guys that were rigging this boat, and I'll put their information below because they did a phenomenal job of what they did with it, was the way this back deck opens and how much room there is. So I'll have to get Ethan to move here, but look at this. This whole thing lifts up, and yeah, it's insane. There's so much room. This year's, I'll move this rod so I don't break it. This year's layout's a little different than last year. As you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batteries in here. This is how I have it rigged. Obviously the 3 Battleborns, 100 milliamp hours each. That runs the Ultrex. I've never come close to killing those batteries in a day on the water. And I don't know if I'd even have that kill with 2 days on the water. We got a 4-bank charger from Minn Kota. I think they're gonna come out with a 5 and a 6-bank soon, and that'll be handy. But right here, these are 2 50 milliamp hour Battleborns that I used to use for our yak stuff. And I've run them in a series, so they're still 12 volts. But every single graph, 360, GPS puck on the boat is run off just those 2. So the nice thing is I don't have to have a giant cranking battery because I'm always draining from it. I don't have to worry about it dying, all that fun stuff. All my are run off lithiums. So I do have 1 extra charger in here, which I just run whenever I plug my boat in. And so that, because it's only a 4-bank, so because I need 5 banks. And then I have one of the banks in the Minn Kota going to the cranking battery. It's just a 2700 size, whatever. It's not crazy, but think about it. Live wells and starting the motor over are the only things on that battery. I have to add, not only units, the Talons are also on that lithium too. It's just, I know it's never gonna die. I know I'm not gonna get low power. Like, those things are freaking beasts. And again, it involved me adding 1 more charger and a couple extra wires, but I did throw an extra breaker in specifically for this stuff, another stop switch that didn't come with the boat. But again, I'm sure if you asked for it or asked for that kind of wiring, Falcon would hook you up. But this is a unique situation. So I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. So far, no issues. And like I said, I think this will be kind of the standard way I do it moving forward. But yeah, overall, just so much room to work with. I mean, it's huge, and you can lift up one of these, or that all comes up in a three-way swing here. The guys who worked on the boat were really, really impressed with how much room there was, to work with. Okay, so this is where like most of the gear lives. It's your center bin. One thing that's different and that they included in the Predator, I believe you can buy it as an upgrade in other models, but I didn't have this in my 21T last year, is this whole tray system. It's freaking sweet. Now it looks all kind of discombobulated right now, but like for the stuff that you're using during the day, I consider this like my day box. And I have stuff for hard baits, I got stuff for extra weights, hooks. As you're coming in and out of these bins and you're fishing and you're changing things up, instead of throwing things in the bottom of your boat, you have a whole area here that you can grab stuff with, whether it be more worms, more swim baits, whatever it may be. It's slick, it slides up and down, and I can slide all the way back and get to all my bins here too. So like, obviously I got a lot of Buzzy bins, which we'll talk about later, but well, let's count them here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 2 size 300s. So I think you could do another 5 in there. So you could do 18 bins just there. I got my line on the one side. I got my smaller bins. That's all my tungsten and like deadheads and like hair jigs and stuff here. That's on the side bins here. Phenomenal. They have this foam bar here. I don't use it a whole lot because kind of like anal about how some things hang, and but that all came standard. The other thing that's super cool, and I think I've mentioned this in my Instagram story, they include this for sure with the Predator. It's a spooler, and like it just fits inside your cup holder, and there's a couple of them you can put it in. It holds your spool. You got a line cutter on there that is like the line cutter brand. It just says Falcon Boats on it, but it's freaking sweet. And if you really wanted to, this thing pops out, and then you can mount another thing, like put it right there. So if you didn't want to have it in a cup holder and rig up there, here, like you just pull it out. But like to have this come with you, I mean, I know a lot of guys buy the ones you can mount here, like that I can move it is clutch. So that's, I mean, again, something simple. I'm sure you can buy it, but like that they include with it's nice. And there's a little area in here for like holding your tools and stuff. I put everything here. And that's pretty much it. We have a bump board that comes right here underneath the console that pops out there. You can see how much, you know, all my tournament fish and all the juice that seems like brand spanking new. Pulled that thing out like 3 times. I just don't use it that much, but it's there and it's a nice spot for it. And there's storage behind here too. I don't know if you can see back in there, but like I could put a ton of stuff back there. I don't. I mean, I got some extra boxes of line there, and a rods, like that probably shouldn't be back there, but just a lot of room in that center storage.
Good.
Probably the second most asked question about just the Falcons in general, not just this one, is how these open up and how do I like it. Honestly, dude, like this is how every bass boat should be. It just is. Those doors that open that way are better in any which way. They just aren't. Your rods are always worried about flying out. Some people have tire gunnels, you know, side rails here, and so it isn't much of an issue. But like, I don't know. Once you have this open this way, you never want to do anything again that's anything different. So I took the insert out. You know, they have the tubes in there. I took it out because I put a lot of reels in here. We're gonna have to actually probably blur some of these out because some of these reels aren't out yet. Yeah, so I could put a bunch in there. I will probably end up getting carpet or maybe like a carpet insert put in there just because I like having them protected when I'm trailering and stuff like that. And right now I feel like against the fiberglass they get a little beat up depending on if they're in a rod slick and in a case, but I could fit probably another 15 rods in here, no problem. And I know a lot of guys do. There's probably about 20 of them in right now with a bunch of extra rods in the corner that are just without reels. You could fit quite a lot. Again, but I'll never go back to a boat that doesn't have that again, because it's the way to go. Cooler, not that it's just a cooler, but it's all full of our snacks for the day. But ooh, how about that Busch Light apple though? But yeah, it's just a cooler. It's a big cooler. You can put plenty of drinks in there. I got like 17 water bottles in there, so it's insulated with the top too. Pretty standard stuff. Let's go to this box here. This will open this way. I got all my plastics and bins here. All divided between swim baits, drop shot baits, a couple bits disorganized. Again, we just kind of got off the water. Yeah, it's another bin for more plastics. There's not much to it. And then the last one, and again, I'll show you. You just lift up and like nothing's falling over the edge of the boat. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not. Like to shove those out, yeah. This is that bin that is all one bin, like I mentioned, but they split up between 2 doors and there's a divider in there. So you can take that out, you can open it up so you can put butts of rods in there. It just depends what you want to use your boat for. I'm a guy that likes to carry a lot of different rods with him. So like, I didn't want 2 rod lockers that I put, like I want them all on one side. This is for rain jackets. I got my cone in here. I got extra PFDs, my throwable, anything like extra that I don't have to get in and out of every day all the time is on this side. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it with the layouts and such, right? Honestly, guys, there isn't a whole lot more. I mean, we'll get some cutaways at the front and stuff like that, but the biggest takeaways on this boat are the fishability, the size of the deck. It's just huge. You get up here and like 2 guys up here is no problem. Falcons are simple. They're well made and they're simple. If you're into a lot of flashy things and a lot of gadgets that, in my experience, don't usually do well when you're in a boat, you know, going Mach 12, there's a lot of brands out there that make that stuff. And not that you can't get some of those features on this boat. I like Falcon because it fits what I want to do and how much I work out of it. Like 5 out of 10 times, I have a Pelican case right here sitting next to me, and I have camera gear in here, and I load these bins up with lenses and extra light kits and crap. Like I've used it for work more this year than I fished out of it. And having that giant deck and everything's simple and nothing, you know, for things to get in the way and such and break, has been phenomenal. So that's pretty much it. This boat's fast. I know what the pros get out of theirs. This is probably a little bit lighter load than the pros because I don't have as many like bags of plastic for different situations. At the same time, they swap those things in out pretty easy too. I got talons on here, so a little heavier. I've done 74 in this boat, and I stopped because there was no reason for me to go faster. I have a kid at home. I'm not trying to die. And honestly, like if I'm not racing for a tournament, why do I care about going 75 or 76? I think 73, 74 is common for top end on these boats, especially when you know how to drive them. But I cruise at like 63 most of the time because like there's no reason to go that. I go 65 to 74 is like just trimming out and building up speed. The boat's still, and the pedal's all the way down still, or at least close to it, and I just don't need to go that fast. So I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions on how this thing is rigged, honestly on anything, don't be afraid to hit a comment below. I'll walk you through it. This boat I've been in for like 2 or 3 months, which is kind of nice because I know the ins and outs of it now compared to last year's boat, so I'll be able to answer those questions. And you know, a more important thing is the boat's for sale. So this boat come fall will be available. I've had a couple guys reach out to me already. No one's put a deposit down, but like with how this thing is rigged, you're gonna have top end electronics, freaking 2 talons, battery. I mean, everything's gonna be freaking money. It's gonna be dialed. And I don't assume that we're gonna have more than, or for sure under 100 hours on it. So if something you're interested, comment below, hit me up for some information. Shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or something. We can figure it out. I will probably end up taking a deposit in the boat and then giving a window of someone what I think the hours are going to be and delivering it to them in the fall. And so they'll have it for all of the spring if they want to go on south, or all spring next year, and it'll be ready for them. But hit me up if you're interested. It's a phenomenal boat, and any guy would be lucky to be running something like this. It's a phenomenal rig. So that's all I got, guys. If you have any questions, again, comment below. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I'll look forward to seeing your comments. Until next time.